This is the Rebel Scum podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/Rebel Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You always
Rebel Scum, indeed, Brock.
Boom. Not much. What's up with you? You seem to be on an ice planet right now.
I'm on Hoth. I was lured here by the smell of tauntauns, and I like the smell. And I didn't know we could do virtual backdrops. For those watching on the YouTubes, I got a virtual backdrop of Hoth. I had no idea this was a thing. Here's the thing. I'm in between rooms. I've got an office set up, but it's right across from where my wife and baby are sleeping right now. So I can't be in there. So I have to. I was like, oh, day one in there. Can't happen. So I'm here. I'm in the dining room on Hoth. Beautiful Hoth. There's my tauntaun. One that side right there. There's Tauntaun Joe. Brock, how you doing? You having any Andor withdrawal at all?
No, because I've comfortably moved on to Willow. You know, granted, that's not a Star Wars property. It's a Lucasfilm property, so it's adjacent. And, you know, whatever keeps you on Disney Plus is all good. So it's in. Yeah, enjoy. It's the best.
What was I going to say? Gonna say Willow. I've noticed a lot of Star Wars fans have kind of like flocked to Willow, I guess because of the Lucasfilm connection. I haven't seen it yet. Erin is a massive Willow fan. She's made me watch the movie dozens of times with her because it's one of the movies that she loves and she will rewatch. We haven't seen the show yet. I think because it's a series and you can. She's a binge. She's sleeping, but she's a binge watcher. Like she doesn't really care for the weekly stuff. You know how I am. But I'll watch that with her. I still haven't watched the Santa Claus either, the show, the Santa Claus. I got to get in on that. I'm very excited for that. I believe it's going to win all the Emmy Awards for everything. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I'm guessing it's for kids, and I'm all in on that. I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Finally, I saw it last week. Have you seen the Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, I was just saying to Reham we should watch some Christmas movies soon, but I haven't watched that one yet.
It's good. It's very enjoyable. It's very Guardians. But what I liked about it, Brock, was I don't know if you remember, like I guess the 90s, 80s probably did too, but the 90s mostly when you'd watch like a Christmas special of like your favorite like show or movie, and it would be like what you love but set at Christmas, and it was just kind of like weird. That's how it felt. It felt like Guardians of the Galaxy but at Christmas, and it really did feel like a spin-off. More from like the 90s. It was very enjoyable. The song, I don't know what Christmas is. Heidi, I am in Canada. I don't know what Christmas is the opening song. And it debuted at number 4 on the holiday charts, the Billboard holiday charts. It was number 4. I don't know what the first 3 were. My guess would be Mariah Carey. It's probably 1 and 2. And then like Kelly Clarkson, like 3 is what I would guess. But anyway, I recommend it. It's very, very enjoyable.
Nice. I will watch it soon. I thought, it's like I get it. It's sad the market with Guardians content, but I think some people are confused. It's like when they saw the trailer for Guardians 3, they're like, "But isn't that already on Disney Plus?" Like, no, that's the Christmas special. It's just like it is all kind of at the same time, but whatever.
They shot them all. They shot them together, like Lord of the Rings. Like they shot like one big thing.
Smart.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every time I see a picture of Dave Bautista, he does not want to not wear a shirt. Like it's just like you can tell he's done with the character.
Yeah, I know. I
Just,
think.
yeah.
I mean, is he 50 something and he has to wear all that makeup? I don't blame him at this point. Yeah,
and stay in shape.
He's on the run. Yeah, well, that might be ingrained in him though. Is all that. Hi, Dale, and Heidi. Like you said, I am in Canada. If you look behind, that is a tauntaun. That's my pet. Tauntaun. I don't know if I said it when we said this or not. It's Joe. His name is Joe. I've heard Violent Night, Brock, is very good. I've heard Andrew Fantasia told me I'll absolutely love Violent Night. All right. So Andor is over. Yeah?
Yeah. No, I was going to say Violent Night. I'm like, I would watch that just because of Dave Harbour, and I love Stranger Things. That's all I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, no, because it's not like I love Christmas movies. Everyone knows I'm obsessed with my Christmas movies. But that one's one like it's like Santa's Sleigh and Fat Man. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But Fantasia was like, James, you're gonna love it. It's more Christmas cheer than you're expecting. So I don't really know what to expect from it. I watched Fat Man finally. It's 2 years old. I finally watched that in like October or early November. Sometime I'm like, whatever, I'll put it on. It was pretty good. I mean, it is what it is. I'm one of those people though that like when people are like Die Hard is a Christmas movie, I'm like, you can watch Die Hard at Christmas. I'm gonna watch it in June and still love it. That's how I am with that one. But let's go on with Star Wars, which is why we're here. Did you see it just dropped today? It just dropped today. Freaking knock it out of my ear. It just dropped today. The set pictures from the Acolyte. Did you see the set pictures? I'm seeing you nod, so I'm going to keep saying it until you say something.
I'm just waiting for you to finish talking. Like I was like, me, I'm not big on pictures, but like this is like awesome. I was this early. My bad. Hello, Penny.
You cut out, so I don't know if it's me or you. So I'm just look. I didn't want to see those pictures at all, and then you're back. I didn't want to see those pictures at all, and then I don't know if it's you or me though. We need Heidi or Dale to tell us. I didn't want to see the pictures because I don't really like to be spoiled. But I looked at the pictures, and I got to be honest with you, it looks very Star Wars. And I'm still, we talked about this with Pete on Thanksgiving. I'm kind of curious what the tone's going to be. They're going to go more on that Andor tone, or they're going to go more like the Mandalorian, the more Star Wars standard tone. And that's what I'm most curious about, because like the Andor tone with these types of characters, I'm jonesing for that at this point in time, because I loved Andor, but I'm like, but where's like, do that and then do that with the Muppets. Do you know what I mean? With the Star Wars Muppet characters. Like, start pushing in that direction. And I'm curious, and that's not a knock on Andor or Mandalorian or whatever. I'm just saying, I'm curious if Acolyte's going to take us there.
Yeah, I don't know what you said that it came in on Muppets. I had no clue, so I really can't comment. I think it's because I opened another website because I was going to try to share my screen to show those pictures, but I think because that website
are you on Google
has
Chrome?
A video, that's what's slowing it down. So, of course, I'm on Google Chrome. Why aren't you using Google Chrome? Yeah. Like, get out of here. Oh, should I
am using Google Chrome,
Safari?
But no. The problem with I use Google Chrome too, but the problem is it uses too much RAM or something. That's the problem with Google Chrome. You have to use Firefox.
Yeah, ever since COVID, Firefox. we're all like.
We all know. No, this is actually, to be honest, like Google Chrome information is something I learned many years ago when we first started putting videos on YouTube. And I was trying to figure out, remember my old Mac, they couldn't handle live stuff for a while. It was that's when I started learning about Google Chrome.
Anyways, Acolyte
memories.
Like, like those Google pictures are rad. Oh my god! Anyways, the picture from Acolyte, like, I don't usually get excited about those kind of like leaked photos, but man, like, the stuff they're delivering is like, wow. Like, you can't tell me someone like, yeah, no, I'm gonna sneak into the site and take pictures like that. They're like way too good. There's no one trying to hide what they're dressed up as, but like it looks awesome. Like I'm super excited, and it's like, wow, look, so many Jedi. Which is like, why are you so shocked? It's during a period where the Jedi are like flourishing. So
You know what I find funny is when people are upset that Jedi are in Star Wars now. Have you noticed that? People get like, I prefer Star Wars without Jedi. I'm like, maybe you should watch Star Trek. I don't know why. Like, I love Andor too, don't get me wrong, but like Jedi are kind of a staple to Star Wars. I don't understand why. Like, somebody was complaining about like Luke Skywalker showing up in Mandalorian. I'm like, yeah, but it's Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is still his story. Like, eventually we'll move on from Luke Skywalker. But at this point in time, I mean, he's kind of been the focal point for a while. You know, he's Luke Skywalker. He's the face of Star Wars. I mean, not marketing. You got Vader and Darth Maul and Rey, but it's Luke. Like, shut up. This is if you don't like Star Wars, don't watch Star Wars. This is what it is. You can like certain aspects of it. Like Andor, I didn't think Andor needed a Jedi or a lightsaber, but that doesn't stop Star Wars from being about Jedi and lightsabers. You know, like this is just a different story. That's all.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. It's Daphne Keene doesn't even look recognizable. I mean, granted, she's a fully adult now, so it's like, but with the makeup on, where she's like a Zabrak, I think, and like I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And I think all the High Republic fans are excited because we see a Wookiee, a Jedi Wookiee. We're like, is it Bur Yaga from the books, which is totally possible because he's younger. The books have been out, or they're supposed to be 200 years in the past, so it's like, he could be a full-fledged Jedi at this point, older looking. So we're gonna get a lot of Wookiee that. So that's awesome.
Were you surprised at all with the like Wookiee and Zabrak and things like that you saw? Like, were you expecting those kind of characters in the Acolyte?
I was up for anything. The thing I was surprised about is that the younger Pat's Frog gave like that wig looks terrible. It's a big curly brown wig. I'm like, yikes. But no, like if you read the books, it's the Jedi are a massive group and it's different races. So I'm like, this is awesome. And for it to be a mixture, like, or at least one of our main cast, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, Mom, we'll see how the wig photographs. That's really what it is. Like, we saw someone's pictures on like a cell phone at this point, which again, like you said, these pictures were amazing. The characters look cool. They're Jedi in robes at the height of the Jedi. I guess the prequels were technically the height, but we're there at the height, whatever. You just give us a behind the scenes picture, like an actual picture right now. I don't know why like they have to give us these leaked crap. Like, if it's going to leak, and like you always say, Disney 100% or Lucasfilm 100% leak these images. Like, there's no doubt about it. Just hire someone and show me a picture of it right now, like a nice high-res picture. It, like, honestly, the main character, it's a dude in a robe. Like, come on, like, it's not giving anything away. It's not like he's Darth Maul under there or Kylo Ren. Like, it's a dude in a robe. You could show me the picture. It's not going to spoil anything. And look, I love when they hide things like obviously Grogu and Luke Skywalker and well, they've hidden some stuff previously, but at the same time, like, sometimes you don't need to hide it. Like, Vader didn't need to be hidden from Obi-Wan Kenobi, not that he was, but you know, I'm just using that as an example. Sometimes just show us. And I think if you come out and you give us some set pictures now, you know, I won't have to read the leaks about how somebody is playing something and is going to piss me off eventually. Durr.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I forget that they're shooting this movie, so it's like, oh wow, stuff. So like, this is great. So if they're shooting now, then we shouldn't expect this till 2024 then, or late 2023. I don't know how this all works. What, 6 months at least?
So the thumbnail on this video, there's a time lapse. I'm not sure what it actually is. Let's find out. Acolyte. I think it's next year. Well, no, probably the following year because Skeleton Crew comes out in December, I believe. Okay, my computer's frozen. Rock. Google Chrome has froze. Uses too much RAM. The problem with Google Chrome is it's the only thing that opens half of the websites. How does that happen? How do you make a web browser and it doesn't open websites? Just answer me that. Am I wrong? Find out. Use what is it, Microsoft Edge or something. Late 2023 is the expected release date of the Acolyte, so late next year. Skeleton Crew, I think, is shooting now. It's also late. Skeleton Crew is reportedly going to tie in a lot to Mandalorian Season 4 and possibly Ahsoka. I love that. I know Acolyte's not going to. Acolyte doesn't have to. Andor doesn't have to, but I love that they kind of have their shared universe there because it is Star Wars, and Star Wars is a shared universe. At the end of the day, they all connect. What are you more excited for Acolyte? Leg.
Are we assuming then? Yeah, are we assuming that Skeleton Crew is like taking the spot of Rangers of the New Republic?
I don't know if it's taking the spot. It might be taking. I mean, maybe I don't think story wise, but I think maybe filming wise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Because
like,
well, this is Jude Law and it's John. Yeah, but it's John Watson. There's kids involved. Like it's about kids or something. So I don't know. I'm curious. The thing that intrigues me a lot about it is it's so like this what they're doing with Mando and Boba Fett and I guess to a degree Obi-Wan, but not quite. More Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew. They're all going to kind of connect. But we know the outcome of like everything, right? Because of the sequel trilogy. And I'm just curious how they're going to handle that and what the story is going to be, because it has to be something engaging enough for us to stick around to. But also they can't be like, well, there's 100,000 Jedi out there now because of Luke's temple. Not all of them got killed. Like something has to give. And I'm wondering if they're building towards the sequel trilogy. Like we kind of got that in Mandalorian season 2, right? Where we saw Snoke and they were trying to get Grogu. Are they building? Like, is that? And I'm not saying that's the purpose of these shows, but is that kind of like their goal is to kind of what Clone Wars did, and Filoni connection would obviously be there. But are they doing what Clone Wars did with the prequels and kind of fleshing things out and bring you to where you need to go? That is what I'm trying to figure out, because I don't know what the kid aspect of the Skeleton Crew is. Are they Jedi kids? Like, do they have Force powers? If so, are they going to wind up with Luke? Are they all going to get killed by the time we're at The Force Awakens? Which isn't even a bad thing, story-wise, because younglings died in the prequels, never forget. So I'm just trying, I just, that's one thing that it does not keep me up at night, but it's something that I'm thinking about. I'm like, what is the trajectory of these shows?
Yeah. Hard to say. I mean, until we see some real trailers or something. I mean, Ahsoka could come. Well, Mando's first, right? Mando season 3's first. Those things could come out. March 1st. So it's like, like a lot of things could change. Look what last 2 or 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett did for the Mandoverse in general. You're like, oh, okay. So, yeah,
absolutely true. Like it takes half an episode for them to get to where they want the stories to go, and that's I love it. I love the Acolytes. Acolytes going to be 8 episodes. How do you feel about that? Anything?
I'm all for it. I don't try to get to. Obviously, if I like something, I'm like, ooh, I want the most episodes you can make. But if like that's what you need to tell a story, then great. Because what was Andor, 10 or 11 episodes or 12?
12.
Yeah, so it's like But like Andor is a very interesting way of telling a story as well. So it's like,
Andor, I don't think Boba Fett needed to go anywhere. It was 7. It did not need to go, and I loved it. But I don't think it needed to go any longer. Like it ended at the right time.
yeah.
I've never felt like the Mando, as much as I've wanted more Mando, I've never felt like the seasons have been cut short. I just feel like, oh man, I keep watching it. So it's just, and I think like with this show, it's like it's 8 episodes, not because there was a mandate for it to be 8 episodes. I think it's because they were like, this is going to be 8 episodes. That's it. Like I read that She-Hulk was supposed to be a couple more episodes, and they're like, no, we just need this, man. And so as long as it's up to like the showrunners and the people making the decisions, and they're not mandated to make 24 episode seasons, I'm okay with whatever they give me. I mean, like at the end of the day, I'm going to want it to keep like Andor. It's like, well, that sucks. You know, I want it to keep going, and it was 12. It's the most we've ever gotten. That's just how it's going to be. I want more Star Wars. I'm greedy like that. But I'm not going to complain if they only need 8 episodes to tell their season. Then do 8 episodes. Don't give me 12 and 3 of them be bogus, right? And one like filler, and because no one complained about it, filler and Andor at all.
Yeah, like I'm all for if your show is good and it's 8 episodes or 14 episodes or 2 episodes. If it's good and I want to rewatch it, like Andor, I'm in. It can be whatever it is. Tales of the Jedi, technically watched all the way through twice. Like that's
Have
a
you
little
watched
easier
Andor
to do
yet?
than Have I watched Andor?
Like
Rewatched it? I've
Yeah.
watched about half of it again because I was watching with Rehan.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just past the when they steal all the monies, like there's the episode right after that, so that's like episode 7 or 8. So yeah, almost the entire series. Oh yeah, like it's beautifully shot. So yeah,
It was really beautifully shot, and I think that's. But again, though, you know, I said this because I'm like, oh man, I love the way it looks, and then I watched some of Book of Boba Fett, and it doesn't look as nice, and the new one doesn't look as nice, but it didn't ruin my rewatch of those at all. You know, like it was like I accepted them as something different, and I didn't even think of how it looked when I was watching it. But then you go to Andor, and Andor is just so nice looking that you can't not acknowledge how nice looking it is. I don't think Acolyte's going to look as nice as Andor, and I'm not saying that to be pessimistic. I'm saying that because I think it's going to have a different look than all of them, but I don't think it's going to look as nice as Andor. I mean, to some people, subjectively, some people might think it looks better, but I don't think it's going to have that gritty, shallow focus feel that we got from Andor.
yeah. But you know, it's if that's not the vision for it, then yeah, like it's I don't know. It's like I'm down for whatever. It's exciting. It's like though. I mean, Andor, I've talked to a lot of different people that are like, I don't know, I just can't get into it. And I'm like, yeah, it's understandable, but it's just like, but yeah, I think it's moving in the right direction. We've said it over and over and over again. So I don't know, but Acolyte, I'm very excited. Like these pictures alone just make me super excited.
I think if you make Acolyte look like Andor, the people that don't like Andor are going to be all in on Acolyte. Because I think, like you said with Andor, because you just said something interesting that I want to talk about, because we're going to do a video with Fantasia by the end of the year called, it's been the 5 years since The Last Jedi. Like 5 years ago, we were gearing up to see this movie. We were talking about it, we were hyped. And it's been a wild ride in the past 5 years for Star Wars. But remember when it ended, like the next podcast we did, you're like, James, it's the Star Wars Renaissance. We were at and everyone was like, Star Wars is going to change. This movie changes everything. And then J.J. Abrams said, and they kind of like went back, right? Like it didn't do what I think the one thing The Last Jedi set up. Nothing ever followed through on. I guess. And then Mando came, and Mando changed a lot technically. And now Andor, what you're saying is basically what you said for Last Jedi. Like there's a new way of doing it, and the Andor numbers aren't reportedly what Mando numbers have been. So it's like, are they just going to go back to what they're doing? But I think with streaming, the cost isn't the same. And I think it's funny though that it's been 5 years, and in 5 years we went from the Star Wars movie that was going to change everything to the Star Wars show that's going to change everything. And maybe to some degree, The Last Jedi paved the way for Andor, and being telling them to tell something a little bit different. But ultimately, it was the Darth Vader hallway scene that let Andor become a thing, because that's why everybody loves Rogue One so much.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's interesting, like, you compare like the movies to the Disney Plus era, where it's like, even if you want to say Andor is making the real first jab at it, like Mando has made strides, so it's like it's wild thinking about what we went through when we just had movies. Now we have shows where it's like we're getting a lot more content there, and it's like, yeah, maybe everyone doesn't like everything, but like it's just a totally different thing. It's like I often wonder what it would have been like if it had been flipped, that they did Star Wars series before they did a new Star Wars movie series. Like, I don't know, like I don't think it would be any different. I think it would just be like, I don't know.
I think, I know Book of Boba Fett wasn't received well by anybody but me, but it's still, I think when you look at it, whether you like it or not, I think what they're doing with the Mando verse, as they call it, is I think what George Lucas would have loved, where you can create this whole universe. It's kind of like The Simpsons did it in one show, but it's been on for 40 freaking years. Whereas like they've created a world now, and everything connects. And I know some people are complaining because they shouldn't connect, but everything's always connected in Star Wars. It's got to be an intimate story for us to be engaged in. And I think they're doing a good job. And I think, Book of Boba Fett, whatever you think of it, it was part of the Mandoverse, but reunited Grogu and Mando to get us to Mandalorian season 3, and then it did whatever it did with Boba Fett. Whether I don't know how it's going to whatever that end result of that series with him liberating Tatooine is going to have an impact on him as a character going forward. Whatever that is, I don't know what they're going to do with it. But so there's a purpose, I think. And then Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka, like Thrawn, like is Thrawn going to be the big bad that these shows are all kind of coming together? And is Moff Gideon even a part of Thrawn? Unknowingly, maybe now, but maybe he doesn't like Thrawn, doesn't want Thrawn in the picture. Maybe Thrawn knows that Sheevy P is coming back. Last week, because Thrawn's gone, Ezra's gone. Reportedly, they're all coming back in the Ahsoka show. So, like, is Thrawn? Are all roads in the Mandoverse leading to Thrawn?
Good question. Yeah. Going on what we've gotten from Mandalorian and I guess Book of Boba Fett, it's like, I feel like the trajectory is like for that story is to be possibly reuniting the Mandalorians on their own planet again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right. Like it's like Ahsoka's like, where's General Thrawn or whatever. So you're like, okay, that's where her show is gonna go. But like you can introduce that character and do nothing with it if you wanted to. Star Wars fans would like freak out, but who cares? Like it's like make your own thing, So I don't know. It's hard to call. It would be very interesting because like I would hope that's sort of the idea of having all these shows kind of connect. Not in the like, oh, I referenced this, but like having characters crossing over like this, having a running story that they would do something. So the villains interacting in some way would be interesting because I don't know. It's funny because like the Empire is so big. You see it in Andor a lot, right? Because there's all these people that are like villains. There's like all these little villains everywhere, and they're not really interacting because they're in so many different planets. So it's like, who was the villain of Andor? It's like you could say this person and this person and this person and this person. Like, so they could get away with not having any of the villains interact and just have the main characters fight each one individually or separately. I don't know. It's I could be down. Like I feel like the people of Star Wars or Lucasfilm, like they're like Thrawn is a big deal to fans, so like let's do him right. So I don't know.
Yeah, because that was a little. No, obviously it was an animated show friend that kind of spiraled into amazing Star Wars show that adults got on board with. So I understand that, but I think you could do Thrawn right, and he is everyone but Andrew Fantasia loves Thrawn, from what I know. So you could bring him in, you could make him intriguing for audiences that aren't familiar with him, who never read books, who obviously didn't watch Rebels.
Yeah,
and then you can and then the only thing is like, do you bring him in just for the Ahsoka show? What's the point? Or do you make him something bigger? Because I thought with you, like, it was something was going to happen with all the Mandalorians. They're all going to come together, blah blah blah. But something's coming up this season with the Mandalorians, and it wouldn't surprise me if we got that storyline like out of the way sooner than later to continue. But then Giancarlo Esposito did say that Mandalorian was meant to be like 4 seasons. That's never really been confirmed as far as I know, but that's what he kind of let slip at one point. So who knows? Maybe they'll do this season, then it'll end next season, and Mando will just kind of appear in other people's shows, and then Pedro Pascal just has to show up and do a voice in a booth while he's shooting The Last of Us or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll see. I think though Thrawn is going to be a looming threat over various shows.
yeah, I think you're right, and it'd be silly not to do something like that. Yeah, I do hope that when these stories cross over more, that it's not just a focus on the Mando story, right? I guess like he is the center of that universe, but like it would be nice if it was like this story and this story interact in this way, and like occasionally they'll cross over, but like it doesn't, like what happens in Ahsoka isn't a result of what like the culmination of something in Mandalorian, right? So,
well, I think Boba Fett should have been called the Mandalorian : Book of Boba Fett. Like, it should have just been, this is a spin-off, like, because it clearly was just a side story in the Mandalorian, right? And when you watch the behind the scenes, they make it like Favreau's like, "Well, I love the Mandalorian." So like it should have been like when they had like the Star Wars story, right? They should have just been a Mandalorian. Like it should have been in there that way. But I think they also didn't want you to know that Mando was showing up. I can't remember if it was a surprise or not.
Yeah.
So that could be why you don't do it. But I think if they would have labeled it as the side story that it is, it might not have been beloved, but it might have been. People might have been a little bit more into it when Mandalorian took over 2 episodes of the show.
It's almost like, Star Wars and like renaming it A New Hope, so you understood that Star Wars is the whole series, but like these are the chapters. So it's like, I don't know what you would call it. You wouldn't want to call it Mandalorian, perhaps. Maybe you would call it like the Outer Rim Tales or something, a Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett. And then, like, at the end, you're like, "Oh, that's cool. I understand why it's all a thing right now." So, but it's funny. It's like they put this one idea, and then they're like, "Oh, what if we did this?" Like, I don't hate it. Yeah. It is what it is. You let the project evolve on its own, but it's just like, yeah.
I think Book of Boba Fett would have been received. Again, people would have had issues, I think, with the character, how they use the character, but I just think the overall what it was, but because watching it, even when Mando wasn't in it, it still felt like it was in the Mandalorian universe. Like it really felt like you were still watching the Mandalorian. So you're right. Maybe rename it that, and just because the Mandoverse, if Skeleton Crew is going to connect in Ahsoka, I guess Ahsoka. But again, if Mando shows up in Ahsoka, who knows? So I just think if you would label it Mandoverse, whatever you want your cute little title to be, your Skywalker saga, your Mando saga, whatever, throw that on there. let us know it, and then move on. Let the Acolyte be your High Republic saga or whatever, your Jedi Republic saga, whatever you want to call it. And then Andor could be your Rogue One saga. They don't have to be names, but if you're going to keep connecting, like Andor has, I believe, no intention of having spinoffs. Like I'm just pretty sure they're like, these characters are on these shows, and which is fine, completely fine. But if you're going to keep expanding, then yeah, it might have a subtitle in there.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense. Like, I think you need to give a map for a lot of these things, so. Yeah.
Well, they make it up on the fly.
Yeah. I bet
but they do a good job of making it up.
If, like, after Andor, they're like, I wish we could put Stellan Skarsgård in one of the movies in some capacity, but, like, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how fast he dies in the second season and what year he dies. Because then they can be like, we're going to go back. We're going to make a movie that takes 3 years just before he dies. And the movie's going to be about him and Han Solo. But here's a question. What if Jon Favreau was like, I really like this character from Andor, and they don't kill that character off? Can they pull him into the Mando or her into the Mandoverse? Like, do they have free reign to use those characters and survive? I don't think many are going to survive. Obviously, like my thing now is, and I know they're not going to do it because it's a different actress, perhaps, but Mon Mothma was sorely mishandled in the novels. She was brilliantly handled in Andor, but she's been. Maybe it's changed. I haven't read the novels, like a lot of the new novels, and I haven't read any of the. I don't even know if they made them anymore. But when the new novels came out, like the aftermath, it was like Mon Mothma's sick. I'm like, what? Are they killing Mon Mothma? No, she's just ill, and that's why she's not here. I'm like, this is stupid. And now you've got Mon Mothma, and she's kicking. Like, she's really good. The actress playing her is really good. She looks like the Return of the Jedi actress. Can you throw her in like the Mandoverse and just age her up a bit? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because whatever, like she's sick it was every time I read it, Brock, I hated every ounce of, like, I just couldn't stand it. I'm like, then don't even mention her. Just be like, she retired. That's way better. And so I kind of want her to, because they made her so intriguing, but I also don't want them to mishandle her in the future ones either. But I would like to see her character continue on after Return of the Jedi.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I don't know. It's like, this is the problem where, like, we want to kind of exist in the Skywalker saga still, but you run into issues of, like, what character can we add on and how can we, it's like, this movie was made 40 years ago and this movie was made 20 years ago and this movie was made in the last 10 years. Like, it's like you need to somewhat start from scratch, but like it could still exist in its own thing. Maybe, I don't know.
I think that was why I'm not going to harp on it, but that was why I think ultimately when it came to The Force Awakens, it's a lot of fun to watch, but when you look back on it, it kind of failed in that it just kind of, because it just used A New Hope as its blueprint. And I said this, I would have been fine if we didn't get Luke, Han, and like I didn't care. Like, I mean, obviously I want them in there, but I didn't care. I didn't want it to be about them. I wanted these new characters who looked intriguing to me, and I kind of wish they just went on their own Willow journey. Like I haven't seen Willow, but I'm guessing they go on a new journey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just a new adventure. Screw the past. Like, just go on this new adventure. Forget what came before. And I think that's where the movies are struggling right now is they need to just go on a new adventure. Don't handcuff yourself with it has to be 3 or 4 or 5 or 1. Just make the movie and be like, Jon Favreau made The Mandalorian. I don't think when he wrote the first episode of Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, Republic here, whatever it was called. Like, I don't think that was on his mind when he started it. At some point, it obviously hit him. And I think that's where the movies have to go. Is they have to just have faith in what they're doing. Let the characters tell the story. Have a villain, figure out what their plot is, and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to go to the odds?
Let's do it.
Successfully navigating an asteroid field at approximately 3,700
Never tell me the odds.
Never.
Never tell me
Did
the
that play
odds.
at all?
It played. I heard it. Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you and me by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, you want to support us, go on down to patreon.com and help us out because our internet works sometimes and we need that Microsoft Edge money.
I bet you StreamYard doesn't even work on Microsoft Edge. I remember side Akbar Brock. Aaron was trying to do something like 2 years ago on Microsoft Edge, and it would not work. And I said, "What are you doing? Like, who uses Microsoft Edge? Go to Google." And the minute she went to Google Chrome, it worked fine. And so, unless you're using Google Chrome, but Google Chrome uses too much memory. It's a conundrum. It's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, damned if you do. Thank you, Patreons, for all of your support.
And thank you to the following people: Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Phil Staniforth, Rez, Scott D, Josh Price,
Matt W, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Dale Erdman, Girls with Sabers, and the Den of Nerds. Thank you all for all of your support. It means a lot to us. And one day Brock will buy Microsoft Edge from Bill Gates, and you'll be able to use Facebook Live on it like you should. One day. All right, first odd today. Oh, we should mention during the Christmas, like December 26th to January 1st, we're going to have all shows, Brock. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk Last Jedi. Heidi's going to be on some of them. We're going to have Disney Desi on one. Phil Staniforth. It's going to be a good time. A lot of good time. A lot of fun talks. Pete Fletcher's going to join us to talk Andor season 2. It's going to be a good time, Brock. If we can figure out when to record these things, but it's going to be a great time. A great time. All right, here we go. Will Ahsoka be groundbreaking? Never tell me the odds. Ahsoka will be groundbreaking. Kind of like Andor. It's going to be like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, and it's going to blow the lids off of everything.
I feel like Andor is gonna like surprise me in the sense of like, oh, look at this. This is like legit from a cartoon put into life. I think I'll be Ahsoka. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, like from Rebels to Ahsoka. And it's like, and I think like that'll blindside me. We're like, yeah, this is amazing. But who is directing Ahsoka? I can't even remember.
They haven't announced it, but Filoni's the showrunner.
Right.
And I think he wrote them all.
Cool. I'm gonna go 60% on this. I don't know. I mean, wow. I'm psyched for Ahsoka, but like I don't know. Groundbreaking.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be groundbreaking. I'm gonna go 37%. I kind of hope it is though. I hope people are like, "What just happened?" and like it blows their minds. But I think it's gonna be more par for the course, not in a negative way. But it's gonna take us places, and obviously, if it brings in Thrawn and brings in new threats, and the problem with Thrawn is we know he's not around by the time we get to the sequels. So something's got. I mean, the reality is though, is there's 19 between Mando and there's what 10 to 12 years somewhere we got to play with still. So you could have a big, huge threat somewhere in there that they're able to thwart before CVP makes his triumphant return. Yada yada yada. Something dark side. So I'm gonna go 37% on that. Our next B2 Emo will be in the next Lego special. A lot of thought went into this one. Oh, Alexa just was like, "What did you mention me?" No, it's B2 Emo.
I think so, but I'm just like I'm caught up on like what would he look like in Lego form? I'm like, he might not look great.
He fits.
He kind of boxy. I don't know. It's just But what do I know? Oh wow, they're all directing. Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go. No, you know what? I'm gonna go low. 45%.
I'm gonna go 77%. I think people love that droid, and Lego, unless Lego's not allowed to touch Andor, which possible. I think they know what people like. They threw Grogu and Mando in the holiday special last year when no turnaround time on that. So I'm gonna go fairly. I'm gonna go 70 whatever percent.
Nice.
The Guardians of the Galaxy will make a cameo. And our final so yeah, I think he's gonna show up because they're on the pulse of pop culture. And our final Mando season 3 will feature Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and another character from either prequels or Clone Wars that has yet to be in live action.
Oh, interesting.
Or sorry, when I say that, I mean because obviously Bo-Katan, like it's someone that we've never seen on these shows before.
Right. If Filoni's is still involved in everything, which I don't see him not being involved, I'm gonna go like 95%. Like I feel like this whole series is based on how can we pull things from one of my cartoons.
I honestly I think it's high, and I think it's gonna be Hera.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be because he's directing one of the episodes, like episode 4 or 5 or something. He's directing that episode and everything. He directed the first one where we met Grogu, then he directed the Ahsoka episodes. So I just think, obviously Ahsoka would probably show up in his, but I could see, I could see Hera because Hera's in the Ahsoka show, right? It's going to be played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I believe. So. I do. I think Kara's going to show up in Mando season 3, and that's going to be how we meet her when we go into the next show. I could be wrong, but that's mine. So, did I give an odds? I'm going to go 67.8%, lower than you think based on how much I sold it, but I'm going to go too. And Heidi wants Omega. She wanks Omega in season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. Heidi
Omega.
And do you have the news?
I do.
Well, you know what that means. It's time for Hollow News. Da 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 da. Hollow News. Da da da. Okay, bye. Da, da, da,
Hollow News.
da, da, da.
Hollow News. The news you need to know right now. The makers of Star Wars series Andor have described filming in Scotland as a highlight of the show's on-location shooting. Specifically, the scenes for episode 6, The Eye, were filmed in and around the Cruachan, pronunciation, hydroelectric scheme near Dalmally in Argyll. Production designer Luke Hull said the renewable energy site, with its dam and underground power station, had given the makers of the Disney series the look they had been aspiring to capture. If you look at the dam, it looks like Darth Vader's mask. Cruachan was opened in 1965, and it involves a 316 meter, 46 meter long dam, and it's a power station housed within a huge cavern dug inside the mountain Ben Cruachan, and gives the hydroelectric scheme its nickname Hollow Mountain. So if you want to go see that place, you can. I don't know how accessible by the public it is, but it exists. It's not faked. It's a real thing. Also, Hasbro dropped a huge wave of new Black Series and Vintage Collection collectibles in celebration of Star Wars Day, aka May the 4th, 2022. One of the highlights was the Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi Force FX Elite lightsaber, which is based on the elegant weapon featured in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney+. It launched with an eye-popping price of $278.99, but you can score a 6% discount to $261.36 on Amazon right now, I believe. That's an all-time low price, was originally slated to arrive January 1st, 2023, but began shipping in November on Amazon, so you have time to get it before the holidays. And while you're at it, make sure to check out the new Luke Skywalker Force FX Elite lightsaber that debuted back in October. It's also available for pre-order on Amazon for $278.99. While some of the Star Wars Black Series Holiday 22 figures are in stock now for those who are interested, and as we already talked about, just Google or Microsoft Edge or Bing, whatever, Yahoo, just put in The Acolyte, and you will see these wonderful pictures that we have been gushing over all episode. And this has been your Hollow News.
I don't know how to yay. Great news.
Yeah.
Have you bought Rehan the R2 Tamagotchi yet?
I actually looked at that on Amazon. I was like, oh,
Is it
like,
too expensive?
It's a little too expensive.
It's right. Yeah, because I was gonna buy it as a joke for Aaron, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's not joke price.
Because it was like $60 or something, or am I crazy? Was it like 50 or something?
I think it's 50, 45. We're in Canada, so everything is 100 times more than what you guys are on the chat talking about, probably.
But for something that's just, dot matrix, like animation, like I know that's the whole Tamagotchi vibe, but like, come on.
Oh, I hit a button on my keyboard and it's just you. Okay. Hotkeys.
Hotkeys.
All right. Hotkeys. All right, top 5. Yeah, no, if it goes down in price, I'll buy it as a joke, but I don't $50. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never had a Tamagotchi. I don't even know what they do.
Me
I don't
neither.
think my sister's ever had one. Anyway, whatever. All right, top 5 Star Wars things we are excited about in 2023. Mine's just a list of shows, basically.
Yeah.
Ahsoka is my number 5. You think it might be higher on my list, but it's not. It's my number 5. If Hera shows up in Mando season 3, it might be but right now it's 5.
My number 5 is going to be Skeleton Crew. It sounds fun, but I'm not quite sure what it's about yet, so it can't be higher. So, yeah.
That's why it's my number 4, because it's Jude Law, it's kids, it's John Watts, and it's in the Mando verse. So it's my number 4 because Ahsoka I know more about than Skeleton Crew. So I'm a touch more excited for Skeleton. Plus, it's coming out in December, I think. Like, it's late. Like, I like Star Wars at this time of the year. Not Andor, I don't think I would have. But I like Mando when it came out at this time. I enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to that one. It's my number 4.
Nice. My number 4 is totally going to screw up the title, but Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Fallen Order. Like, it just got leaked that like the release date is in March or May or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had a whole bunch of like, this is what you get if you buy this one and this one. Should be cool. Like, that's I don't know if I'm gonna buy it. That's why it's so low, because I just haven't really played anything but my Nintendo Switch. So if it comes out for Nintendo Switch, I am absolutely gonna get it. But that first game was so good. Like, the cinematics in it are just like, if you don't want to play the game, just watch all of it on YouTube. It's next level. So
I don't know if it's on, because I only have a PS4. I don't have a 5 or the Xbox Series S2, 4, whatever it's called. I have a Switch. I have a PS4. And I don't know if it's coming out on those. I don't know. Video games seem to only want to be on the new consoles now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll get a chance to, because I'm not spending $900 on a PlayStation 5 either. Like, you think I can't spend $50 on a Tamagotchi unless I'm spending $900 on a PlayStation. Get out of my face. My number 3 is Acolyte. These pictures got me even more excited. But no, number 2, I don't even know if it makes sense. This should be probably higher, but Acolyte's got me all excited. I'm really like, the story. It sounds like more than Mando, more than Andor. It sounds like something that I am all in on. Like, the story itself is like, excites me, because Star Wars is about Jedi. But I haven't seen enough to really. I mean, now I wrote this list before I saw the pictures, but like, I'm very excited. I want to see what it's going to look like visually, the cinematography of it. But I'm very excited for Acolyte.
My number 3 is Acolyte too, because I'm just, me, I've been liking this High Republic thing, so I'm very, very excited. And these pictures are like, whoa, cool. So I'm in. My
number 2 is some sort of surprise announcement. It's coming. We're going to get something at some point between January and December 31st, and we're going to be like Book of Boba Fett. Come on. That was the best announcement Star Wars has ever had.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Mando ends, and I was like, what? Like, we all had the same reaction. I'm not saying it's going to announce something that we're all going to love. I'm just saying some sort of announcement is going to hit us, and it's going to make us excited. And next year we should roll this tape back next year at this time when I'm wrong and they didn't announce anything. but that's my number 2.
My number 2, I'm assuming this is this upcoming year, but Ahsoka, like, cannot wait. Like, I loved Rebels, so yeah, I'm all in on Ahsoka.
Yeah, no, it's Filoni all over. I think.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's as good as the groundbreaking odd that we just had. And my number 1 is The Devil You Know is better than The Devil You Don't, Brock. So I'm going with Mando season 3 because Mando don't fail.
I mean, that's the story. Like, we want to continue that story, so it's like,
Yep.
and it's like, yeah, and whatever, like, even though Grogu has decided to go with Mando, I don't think we haven't seen the end of Luke or some kind of like Jedi connection. So,
Dale Erdman is saying that Jude Law's a pretty name, but he can't think of any movies that he's in. He hasn't watched any of what he is in. He is in The Holiday, Dale. The Holiday with Kate Winslet, Jack Black, and Jude Law. And I'm telling you right now, Jack Black crushes it in The Holiday.
He's in Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
The World of Tomorrow, all shot on green screen.
He's in The Young Pope. He's in what's that movie where Natalie Portman has pink hair?
Closer?
Closer, yeah.
But The Holiday.
I've heard so many people talk about Closer on like different media, but it's only because it's like some like reference to Natalie Portman's pink hair. That's it. Nobody knows anything else about that movie.
He was in the remake of Alfie, and he was in
Alfie.
Was he? Yeah. He's been in a lot. But The Holiday, if you haven't watched it, I haven't watched it this year yet. But Jack Black, Brock, have you seen The Holiday?
Oh yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Jack Black is like, he's a top tier actor. He's like, I don't know. He's gonna crush this Bowser. I don't know.
Oh, that
Mario trailer. Whoa. Dude, I see people complaining about it. I'm like, do you like Mario, bro? Like perfection.
The subtle reference in the beginning where he's fighting Donkey Kong to like the original Donkey Kong game. I'm like, oh, they get it. And like,
yeah,
like I know we've seen this a million times before in movies, but when Luigi and Mario are like flying through that weird wormhole.
Yeah.
Tube, whatever it is, I don't know. And Luigi's like, Mario, and like Mario looks like he's like, I don't know what's happening. And then they grab hands. I'm like, tears. I'm like, yeah, brothers.
I was like, I love that he has a training circuit with like all like the original game is a training. I'm like, this is like, and then he stands on the one thing that fall. I'm like, the raccoon, like everything about it, I'm like, this is Mario Brothers. This is everything. If I was 10 years old, if this came out when the Bob Hoskins one came, which I love, by the way, and I own it on DVD. If it came out then, though, I would have been like, I probably would have melted. Like, I don't know if I would have survived because it just like everything about it is Mario Brothers, Smash Brothers, like you said, the original Donkey Kong, like Mario Kart is in there.
Yeah. I'm sure Mario Party is in there somehow.
I've seen people are complaining that Princess Peach is like an action hero, but I'm like, Mario 2, she does it. 3D World, she does. Like, she's been playable. She has her own game. With
Super Mario 2.
Yeah, like way back then. But like, so my only thing was, I was talking to my sister, who's a big Luigi fan before these trailers, and I was like, well, Luigi's the one getting captured, and of course, but I have a feeling, Brock, before we end this, that there will be a point where Princess Peach is captured by Bowser. And at some point in the movie, there will be a gag that your princess is in another castle. Because you can't tell me that they've gone through all of these bits and that won't be in it. Because Mario 3, I remember when Mario 3 did that bull crap at the end when you beat the game and Peach is crying, or she's Toadstool back then. She's crying. She goes, sorry, Mario, your princess in another castle. I got so mad. I threw my Nintendo. I almost broke my Nintendo. My mom was not happy with me. It didn't break, luckily. But I was mad, and then they're like, just kidding, Teehee. So they better do it in the movie, Illumination. I just watched The Grinch also by them. Fantastic.
Nice. Like if they have a moment in this movie, it's not gonna ruin it. But if they have this moment in this movie that like somebody like Mario's not there and one of the characters is like Mario is missing, and then they all turn and look at the fourth wall. I'll go see this movie twice. Like I will go. Like come on, like watch that trailer and then go watch the Sonic trailer. It's the same idea where it's like we understand this is a ridiculous premise to make into a movie, so we're gonna add. Yeah, of course. They're all mad because it's like that doesn't sound like, you know, Charles Martinelli or what we thought the voices of all these characters were. Who cares? It looks awesome.
I like the Chris Pratt thing. I'm over it because everyone's so. But his voice, I kind of just like was like whatever. It is what it is, and got into it. Didn't care. Charlie Day, I thought was fantastic as Luigi.
Yeah.
I was just like, as soon as I heard his casting, I'm like, that's Luigi. Keegan Michael Key sounds like they're doing like a high pitch, like his voice a little manipulated a little bit, but I still like that. Yeah, and I like Bowser's obviously great. Peach sounds really good. And Charles Martinet does do like multiple voices. Yeah, he's in the movie. It's not like they screwed him over. They're like, you can't sustain a 2 hour and a half movie.
Yeah,
and I love that Chris Pratt is saying his iconic lines as well. But in like a movie actor's voice, like that's what it reminded me of when I was a kid. When I saw like Ninja Turtles, I'm like, this does not sound like my Ninja Turtles. Oh, but they said cowabunga like adult. Like it made you feel a little bit bigger when something. So I don't know how we turned into this, but that trailer was
phenomenal. I can't wait. That looks so good.
Great. All right, let's wrap it up.
Boom.
In that case, the next Superman movie should have him flying through rings. The N64 game. That game was so bad.
Yeah.
Also, I think the Atari Superman game was also brutal as well. Not many great Superman games, which makes no sense because it should be the easiest character to turn into a great video game. Yeah. But here we are. All right, Brock, anything else you'd like to say today?
No. Yeah. Watch Willow. It's awesome. It's fun.
Maybe I'll watch it this weekend. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe. I'm James. He's Brock, and he was always Scum.
Rebel Scum.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.